Welcome to the Jeff Knows Inc. Entrepreneurial Podcast with your host, Jeff Lopes. Jeff has over 2 decades experience as a serial entrepreneur, building brands like Kimura from his home basement to a multi-million-dollar global brand that has sold over 250,000 pairs of boxing gloves. Jeff's here to educate, guide, and drive you on the process of bringing your ideas and dreams to reality with the inspiring stories from some of the top business minds.
Welcome to episode 149 of the Jeff Knows Inc. podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Lopes. Super excited to have on today Mada Abdelhamid, right from LA, from the WWE all the way to Training to the Stars. Incredible journey, incredible story. Sit back, everyone, and enjoy. We're live on the Jeff Knows Inc. podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Lopes. Super excited to have on Mada Abdelhamid. What is up, brother?
What's up, brother? How you doing? Thanks for having me.
I'm excited about this. This is going to be a fun conversation. We got LA. I'm from Toronto, Canada. So have you been to Toronto, Canada before?
Yes, I have briefly. I was in Vancouver for about maybe 7 months. We were shooting a film out there. Huh? Yeah. I wasn't the biggest fan because it was wintertime. It was just way too much rain for me. I'm originally from Egypt, so I'm more of like.
See, that's rain. So if you come to Toronto, we are in the winters, it's snow. So Vancouver is not bad. You just got the rain there. In Toronto, man, we got a couple feet of snow, man.
Yeah. So I went to school in Buffalo, New York. I played college basketball there.
Oh, very cool.
So we're by Toronto, and I had this is a funny story. This is the first time coming to America. From Egypt, grew up in New Zealand. I get a scholarship to play basketball in America. I'm super excited. The coaches are like, we're based in New York. Coming from overseas, you don't think New York is a state. You think it's a city. I'm like, I made it. I'm going to Madison Square Garden. I'm going to meet Jay-Z. I've made the big times. I show up to Buffalo. I think it's like Manhattan. It's a little suburb. And I'm like, where's the city? And they're like, it's like 6 hours away. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I was out there for 2 years. It's just like 4 feet of snow. So I know what it's like. I remember the first time it snowed, it was during basketball practice. The coach stopped practice and let me run outside and run around in the snow like a big kid.
I love it. So basketball, that was something. Yeah, that's interesting. How long basketball, obviously past college, you never played. Did you play past college or no?
Yeah, I played professionally overseas all over the Middle East. I played in Australia and New Zealand.
Wow. What position were you?
I play small forward, power forward. I'm 6'6". My playing weight was maybe like 225. So basketball was my entire life up until maybe like 26 years old.
So when did you start playing? Back in Egypt or in New Zealand you started playing?
New Zealand. So I moved. I grew up in Egypt, lived in Saudi Arabia for a couple of years as well, between the ages of like 5 and 7, 5 and 8.
Yeah.
And then about 8, 9 years old, we moved to New Zealand. And I grew up there. That's when I learned, I played basketball since maybe like 10 years old, and grew up in New Zealand, got a scholarship when I was 18, 19, moved to the States. I played 2 years in Buffalo, a year in Tennessee, a year in San Diego. I just love moving, bro. So, and then after that, I played professional overseas. My first season was in Egypt, and that was in 2010, 2011. And that's when I went through the Egyptian Revolution. I was in there during the Arab Spring. It was chaos. Almost lost my life there. And that is something I want to talk about today, because it was one of the most difficult experiences of my life, but it was the best experience of my life.
How old are you then?
23, 24.
So you're still a kid, man.
It was halfway during the season, and I ran out of food and water. I was boiling dirty tap water just to survive. I lost like 25 pounds. Machine guns are going off outside my house. It's just complete mayhem. At one point, I went to call my mom and tell her, look, I love you. I don't know if I'm going to make it. And luckily, the phones weren't working. The internet was down, complete communication. Everything was shut off. But at that moment, when you're faced with life and death, the things that you think about, you don't think about your successes. You don't think about how much money you made, or you think about regrets. You wish you did this, you wish you did that, and at the time, I stopped having that passion for basketball, that same passion that 10-year-old kid had. I still love basketball, but it became a job. I hated getting up in the morning shooting 1,000 shots every day. Yeah. I had a new passion, which was fitness. Because growing up at 15 years old, I was 320 pounds. Yeah. I was always that fat kid. Even though I played basketball, I was always that fat kid and grew up in New Zealand. a beach, swimming is a big part of the lifestyle. And I was always terrified to take my shirt off. I was always that fat kid in the pool wearing a shirt. And I became obsessed with fitness, and I wanted to transform my body. And I wanted people to stop pointing at me for being a fat kid and instead be like, wow, look how good that guy looks. And I was very motivated by that. And fitness changed my entire life because it didn't just change my body, it changed my mindset, changed my social skills, everything about me. Yeah. And then I became passionate about inspiring and helping others. And that was my biggest passion in life. So it overtook basketball, and it took the Egyptian revolution. It took facing death to kind of realize that, like, you know what, like I had bigger dreams to pursue. I gave basketball 1 or 2 more years, but just didn't have that passion. I didn't wake up hungry. I didn't wake up like excited like I do now. I have a passion for helping others. I have a passion for motivating and inspiring others to be the best version of themselves.
I always say that is everybody has, I mean, a lot of people say, oh, this is my purpose. That's my purpose. I'm a strong believer. You could have 4, 5, 6 different purposes at one time. Your children is one purpose. Your wife's another purpose. But I also do believe that purposes change as cycles of your life changes. And that's okay. And basketball is a purpose from A to B, and that's okay. So now you can move on. Even like people in your life, there's people that are in your life and they had a purpose for a certain period. And when they're out of your life, it's okay to let them go. Their purpose is done for that time. But I love what you said. This is something I actually teach men, is to live with no regrets. And something for your age at 23 to realize that, or 24 to realize that, that's crazy. Because a lot of people, you always hear this, is when they realize the regrets they had in their life is on their deathbed. So to have it from a very young age is so powerful. And I love that you're talking about, because you got to spread that out, because a lot of people don't ever really focus their attention on it when it's too late.
Exactly.
So I love that. Okay, so continue. I just want to jump that in. Sorry, brother.
I had that conversation. Have you heard of C.T. Fletcher?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, babe. I mean, he's one of my idols. Love that guy. He's he's like a father figure to me. Really.
So you guys are friends? Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
So I originally saw his documentary on, I think it was Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with him. We had a big workout, best workout of my life. I've never pushed myself that far in my life. But after the workout, I talked to him about that. You know, everybody asked him about his bench press, his bicep curls, all of that crazy stuff. But I wanted to ask him about his experience with death, right?
Yeah.
And we had that, you know, of course, it's a whole different experience. You know, he actually flatlined. But he said the same thing, is you don't think about the trophies or the bench press records you won or the bicep curls, or think about regrets. You think about the things that you wish you had said to people, or the things you wish you had pursued in life.
Yeah.
And I live every day by that, you know, and it's not to say that it's going to be easy or this or that, but as long as every day you're waking up with that passion, that same, and like you said, the things I do are what's. My why is always going to change. Always going to be the same.
Yeah.
My why is to help and motivate and inspire people. My goal is to be rich and famous. Why? Because I want to help people. I grew up in a third world country. Yeah. I've seen poverty. I've seen people dying of hunger. So that is my why. I want to go back and help those people. I don't want the Lambos and the Ferraris and a nice house. My why, my purpose in life is to help others and then motivate and inspire others. And being a father, there is nothing more than seeing your kids want to be like you. My kids, they try to emulate everything I do. They work out like me. They're eating steaks. They're doing this. They're doing that. They're like little sponges. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And being able to shape their young lives. And I see it. I'm like, wow, I'm shaping their life for the rest of their life, right? When they're 20, when they're 30, they're 40, the things I do now, that is going to shape the rest of their life.
You're kind of answering, but I want you to get into more depth. What does fatherhood mean to you?
The first thing about fatherhood is loving something more than yourself, right? So you only get that if you're actually a father, you know, and you don't feel it until you see your child. You know, the mother feels it when she feels a child within her and all of that. As soon as my child came out, as soon as he just took my heart, and no matter what happens in life, that is more than life. I will give him my last breath, my last whatever he needs. That feeling of unconditional love, like, of course you love your mother, your father, everything, but nothing beats the love you have for your own child. It's a love that you can't explain. It's a love that can be emulated. I love my wife, but it's nothing close to my kids, right? It's a different love. That's the first thing about fatherhood.
Yeah.
But the second and one of the most important things is just being a role model and being able to shape their lives, right? So from a young age, you see everything I do, they emulate. No matter the things I say, the little words, whatever I do, even little expressions and this and that. So having that, I have a chip on my shoulder, right? Everything I do, everything I say now means something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If I'm negative, if I'm angry, if I'm doing something wrong, if I have somebody that it looks up to me 24 hours a day, right? My biggest fans, right? So I have to make sure that I'm always on top of my game, because if I do something, they're going to try to emulate that and try to follow in that footstep.
I love that, because that's something I talk about a lot is people always talk about mentoring, but you don't realize when you indirectly mentor.
Yeah.
So the way you act when you think no one's watching, most of the time your children are watching. You might not pay attention. So those quiet times that you're not mentoring them directly, then indirect mentoring, how you treat others, how you show up to the world, they're seeing that all, which I think is so special. How long have you been married for?
8 years now. Yeah, it was right after the revolution. I played 1 or 2 more seasons, and then I just kind of we got married quick.
Where'd you meet your wife?
What did you say?
Where'd you meet your wife?
In Washington, D.C. So my parents moved out to D.C. So I'd go back there every summer between seasons for basketball, and kind of met her at the gym. Met her randomly. My friend invited me out. I showed up. She happened to be there, and basically I had to leave a month later. But we kept talking. She came to visit me. I was playing in Australia at the time. She came to visit me, and I was like, you know what? I think she's the one. We became official. A month later, I came back to visit. We got engaged at a wedding. We're at a wedding. I'm sitting there. I'm like, you know what? I had 1 more season playing back in Australia. I was like, you know what? I'm done. Let's get married. I just decided right there. He's like, you know what? Let's get married. Because if I die tomorrow, at least, you know what I mean? It's that thinking of no regrets.
Yeah.
And then 4 weeks later, we're married. And then we moved out to LA. I didn't know a soul. Had 2 suitcases, no job, no car, no house, nothing, and just started fresh here. And the rest is history. I love that. She's my ride or die. She's kind of like me. She loves that adventure. And she's a great mom. So that's all I can ask for.
Yeah, I love you said that, because they see how everything changes priorities when you have kids. You start looking at her as her mom and how she reacts and shows up for her children and all that. I love that.
I love what you brought up is living life in those 2 senses of no regrets, right? Yeah. You never know when your last day is going to be, your last breath. You never know.
No.
And the other thing is, especially as a father, knowing that somebody's watching your every move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if you're picking your nose quietly while you're watching TV, your kids are watching you.
Yeah.
No matter every little thing you do, if you think of that. I saw the other day something on, I think it was YouTube, and it was somebody talking about, imagine somebody, every time you do something during the day, imagine somebody filming. This is your documentary before you succeed, right? Yeah. They're filming you the whole day. How are you going to act? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
But now fatherhood takes that to a whole new level. Your kids are watching you. What are you going to do? And I take that in a gym when I need that motivation. That's that's what I think about. I think about my kids. That takes me to that. Daddy, I need you to do 10 reps. Daddy, I need you to do 15. Anytime I need energy, I think of my kids. I'm like, they need me to do this weight. And it's that grown man father strength. It's unreal. And I love that whole mental aspect of how far you can push yourself physically. Because a lot of times it's your mental barriers that hold you back.
Yeah.
And I'm big on that, your mental strength. And when I work out in the gym, half of the time it's more mental. I want to see how far I can push myself before I break.
Yeah. And I love what you said that too, is as a dad, there's 2 things I'm going to say there. As a dad, I hold myself accountable to my kids. My kids are 13 and 15 now. So they're becoming young teens. But we're very close. My son's 13, Tiago, my daughter, Sierra is 15. But we have a very tight-knit family, and I do everything. If you go to my Instagram account, I'm home I call it the 3 to 7. So from 3 to 7 every day, I try to be home with my kids. That's my family time. I shut the world off. That's my time with them, right? But when I do anything I do, anything I accomplish work-wise, I've been an entrepreneur for 26 years. I've done extremely well for myself. And everything I ever do or if I'm going to write a book, I always tell them first. So I hold myself accountable.
Yeah.
So they could see when I'm going through the struggles, when I succeed, that struggle, that pain, that to get to that goal, that achievement, it just gives them motivation. Like dad could do it. Dad could do it. So you start building this winning mentality because a lot of kids nowadays, and I was just talking to somebody about this the other day, is everybody's rewarded is that everybody's rewarded for just being ordinary. And I want my kids to be winners. I want my kids to be the best at everything they do. So you set those goals and you show them, hey, if I want to get this, I'm going to get there. And whatever you have to do, you get there. And you start teaching them how to be winners from a very young age.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you one more thing too, before you go on, is the whole thing with no regrets. Even when you live with no regrets, you still always have regrets.
Yeah.
That's just the way life is, right? I just recently lost my dad. And he was like he was my best friend, right? I'm the 44-year-old that would call my dad 2-3 times a day and talk on the phone. Like we had a very tight-knit relationship, and it was a sudden, unexpected heart attack. I talked to him on the Thursday night. I said goodnight to him. Every night I would call him and say goodnight. We had a good conversation. Friday morning, May 6th, he gets up in the morning, 6 a.m., goes to the bathroom, falls in front of my mom, passes away. And even though I spend time with him even though my children are around him all the time, you still have those regrets. You still have that stuff. So it's so important to make those phone calls, to reach out to people, to make sure if something in your head, your intuitions tell you to do something, do it. Because you never know what happens in life, man. Every time you walk out of your door, you don't know if you're coming home. That's just reality to it, right? Make sure you kiss your kids and you tell them you love them and just live life to the max, right? So I appreciate that. So let's talk about your fitness. So we got into the fitness. WWE. What was your role there? Were you actually wrestling? Were you doing more of the entertainment part? So you're wrestling.
So I
so many layers to you, man. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
There's a lot of layers. I'm a big onion. 2015. I had been in LA a couple years. I started doing well. I was working on my launching on my supplement brand, meal prep company. I was training a couple of celebrities at the time, so things were going well. All of a sudden, I get an email from a guy for casting WWE. They're like, "You want to be in a reality show with Hulk Hogan and WWE?" And I was like, "This is fake. This is spam." So I never replied to the guy. I was like, "There's nothing in life comes that easy." He hit me up on like Facebook and stuff like that, and I looked at his profile. I was like, "This guy looks real." So I messaged him back, and he was in Santa Monica at the time. We met up. Next month I was in Orlando filming a TV show on USA Network, reality show called Tough Enough. So I did that, did really well, and they really loved me because I was great, on the mic. I was a great talker, great, wrestling. If you're an athlete, you could pick up really easy. But the biggest thing was there's a big Arab fan base. They said like WWE signed an $80 million deal in Saudi Arabia, I think, like really recent. So it's a massive fan base. They don't really have any Arab speakers. So I was supposed to come in and be kind of like that Arab guy, which was great and everything. But I hated the side where they really pushed for me being that anti-America, like, you know what I mean? That with America, Iron Sheikish type. I wasn't for all that. You know what I mean? I wanted the opposite. I used to come out sometimes and, they would boo me. Like, I'll be like, "My name is Ahmad Tariq Muhammad Abdelhamid. I'm from Cairo, Egypt." "Oh, go back to your country." And I was like, people wanted to kill me, man. It's like the demographic for a WWE fan base, it's racist, but they're pretty racist. So I'm just keeping it real, right?
No, I love it. I love it.
Look, it is what it is. And the problem with WWE, some people still think it's like real. Don't get me wrong. It's not. I don't. It's.
I had on.
Right?
I had.
It hurts.
Oh, I had on. I interviewed. Oh my God. Miro.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Rusev.
Yes. No. Miro. He was. It was Johnny B. Bad. It was his character back in the day. And then I interviewed. I interviewed Diamond Dallas Page. You know who he is, right? Which is a massive name. And I mean the wear and tear your body takes. It's fake, but I mean you're still a 300-pound, 200 falling.
It's choreographed, but those are still real. Like it hurts. Like don't get me wrong. Like It's grueling. I like coming in, I did not think it was going to be as hard physically. I played pro basketball, it was 10 times harder. It
Yeah.
is so hard physically because not only are you going through the physical battle inside the ring, but mentally you have to be there. So you have to act. It's improv. You have to think on the fly. The producer's telling the ref something and he's telling you, and you have to it's chaos inside that ring. It is chaos, but I loved it. I love the chaos. But it's so grueling physically. And, but back to where I was going is I wanted to bring people together. I'm from Egypt, but in Egypt, I'm a traitor. In this country, I'm a terrorist, right? Like I have no belonging anywhere. I never have a sense of belonging.
Yeah.
And everywhere I go.
That's interesting you said that. I mean,
I go to New Zealand, even when I go to New Zealand, my accent's like, where are you from? When I'm here, where are you from? When I'm in Egypt, where are you from? I never had a sense of belonging. I'm from somewhere. But it was great because it made me a human. I'm from Earth, right?
Yeah.
I bleed like you. I'm going to die like you. We're all one.
Yeah.
And it was cool because a couple times in the ring, I'd give a promo on the mic and, I tell him, look, I had a blonde mohawk at the time. I'm a 6'6", 280-pound Egyptian with a blonde mohawk. I don't belong anywhere. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter your race, your color, or your religion. We're all human. We're all one.
Yeah.
And to have that crowd chanting, "We are one." To me, that was special because I was able to bring people together. And that was another thing of one of my whys is like bring people together. Because I grew up in not only seeing poverty, but I saw a lot of hatred, right?
Yeah.
I grew up in Saudi Arabia where they're teaching you like, oh, Christians and Jews are infidels and they deserve to die and this and that, like through religion. Growing up seeing that, it's like, I want peace. I want people to be together. Like, it doesn't matter what God you choose to follow, the color of your skin. It's like, why can't we live in peace?
Yeah.
See the amount of war and the amount of money we spend on war these days. It's like,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Imagine if we lived in peace.
Crazy.
How nice and
we're living through it right now in Afghanistan, right? I mean, you sit there and the amount of terror and the amount of people suffering over stupidity.
Yeah.
Over stupidity. Yeah. It's just crazy.
Everywhere. It's like you go to Africa, they're just killing each other.
Crazy.
Their own people are killing. Like it's so bad. It's over money and greed and power and religion and race and it's just the world's not the best place. But I want to leave the world a better place, for my kids and then for their kids and their kids. So that that's my goal. If I can leave the world a slightly better place than where I came in, that would be a great.
So take me through that journey. So where did the wrestling? You're obviously not in there anymore doing wrestling, or are you still wrestling? So how long did that last for?
I moved to Orlando with my family. At the time, I had my first child, and we had our second child in Orlando. But we were there for 2 years, and I was kind of like over it. It was kind of the same thing I was going through basketball. Like at the start, it was fun. I loved it, and then it just became this like. I love my time in the ring.
A lot of traveling, huh?
A lot of traveling, seeing your family, and the politics and the whole behind the scenes stuff. You just like, because I was used to the athlete mentality. If I was better than somebody, then I'm going to get more playing time. Or,
yeah.
Where WWE is a whole different ballgame. They create you, right? It doesn't matter how good or bad you are. You can see somebody that with half a talent get pushed with more money and get all the titles. But, sometimes it's hard mentally to go through that, right? It's a whole different ballgame. It's not a sport. It's not like, okay, you're better than this guy. You're going to get more money. You're going to get more results, whatever. Yeah. So, and before then I started training Jason Momoa. So I was training him for a little while. So
how did that all start? Where'd you meet him?
Just at a gym, just randomly. He walked into my gym in LA and we met and just started working out together.
Was he at that point, was he the star he is now?
No. He wasn't. He was just like kind of off Game of Thrones, like more like his role on Game of Thrones. So he wasn't close to where he was today.
Yeah. He's become a massive star.
Yeah. And then so I left WWE, trained him for Aquaman, was with him for a couple of years, but kind of like I had to leave and kind of do my own thing. It was great time. Met a bunch of cool people, learned a lot about the industry, but it was time for me to kind of like do my own thing. I had my supplement line that was waiting. I had to,
What's your supplement line called?
Real Deal Lifestyle.
Real Deal. Okay, that's what you're wearing. Let me see your shirt. Stand back and let me see your shirt. Is that it?
Be real, be you. That's our motto.
I love it.
I have my own meal prep company. We just launched 4 months ago in LA, and that one's really, really blowing up. Everybody's loving the food. It's called Modified Eats. So it's a play on my name. So we make fun, exciting, good, delicious food modified in a healthier and lower calorie way.
Yeah.
Because I know from experience, if you try to eat healthier, a lot of people just make the mistake of they just eat bland chicken and broccoli like 5 times a day and this and that. Guess what? You're going to end up failing.
Yeah.
You have to change your lifestyle, right? And you can still enjoy delicious food, but in a reasonably calorie, conscious way. It's just all about being creative and knowing how to seasoning things and stuff like that. Everything's going well with that meal prep company.
Do you have partners in that, or you did it on your own?
No, that one's my sister helps out. I'm trying to convince her to come in, to move to LA and be full time with me.
Where does she live now?
At DC. She works and she just finished her PhD. She works in the educational sector of the government.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's super, super smart.
But she also probably has a comfy job with a lot of security, right?
She's the opposite of me. She's very risk adverse. She doesn't like risk. I'm the opposite. I'm like, where's the risk?
That's funny because my sister, I have an older sister, the exact same way. She has a corporate job, security. She's been wanting to start a business for years, and I keep telling her I'm going to help her. I help people launch companies. That's what I do, and I keep trying to help her for years and years. And she's just so scared to take the job, to take the risk, because she has that security, that those benefits, the good paying job, the career, the pension, all that, right? Yeah, that's interesting.
I can tell. I'm like, look, she has nothing to lose. She doesn't have family, kids.
Yeah, same with my sister.
Still relatively young. I'm like, just come here, move here. Let's grind for 6 months. The way the business right now is scaling, we're in LA is just such a good market for the meal prep.
It's huge.
Really, really take over and build an empire here, so, and she just she's close. I'm like, come on. I'm just going to keep that. I use my kids. I'm like, hey,
they want their auntie. I love it.
Guilt tripper.
So, give me a little rundown. So you've done some acting. You said you're on the reality show. You did. So where's the entertainment side? Do you still want to do more acting? Do you want to use that part to brand yourself? So powerful to brand yourself.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely. I get the auditions here and there, and for me, I get the same auditions. It's always like big, scary bad guy or security guard or hitman, and so there was a couple different things. So me and my buddy are working on this cool script called Brothers. We kind of created, he's got a unique life story. I have a unique life story. We kind of brought it together, right? So it's based on true events of our lives.
Yeah.
We're bringing it together as these half brothers, right?
Yeah.
And, we get separated at a young age. We come back later on. So we both live our lives as we have to meet now, so it's got a cool script. That one, definitely is going to take some time. But one thing I'm working on, we were close to getting it up right before COVID. It's called Beasting and Feasting. It's a world travel food and sports show. Think Anthony Bourdain meets sports. Who better to play that part? I'm from everywhere. I'm international. I've played every freaking sport there is. I played soccer and basketball and hockey and rugby and football and this and that, right?
Yeah.
I've eaten every food. I love food, right? I freaking love food so much. I was 320 pounds by 15. So I wanted to explore the world through the lens of food and sport and show all the different cultures around the world. Go to Japan and I'll do sumo wrestling and I'll eat sushi and ramen. I'll go to Brazil and do Brazilian jiu-jitsu and eat Brazilian food, right?
Yeah.
And those are the two things that connect people. You can go to Brazil, and watch a soccer game and eat Brazilian food.
Yeah.
Not know one word of Portuguese, but enjoy a good time and smile and laugh and have a good time with people, right?
Yeah.
Food is definitely the number one thing, but that physical, when I say beasting, it's anything physical, anything, even singing, music, salsa dancing, ballet, skateboarding, ice skating, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have, it's going to be
sport unites people.
Yeah.
There's nothing like an example, the World Cup soccer.
Yeah.
you never,
the world stops.
the world stops. Like from Toronto, Canada, it's such a multicultural city.
Yeah.
Like it's such a multicultural city. And I mean, the World Cup starts and it's like, all you see is every card has a flag on it. Everybody, all the countries unite for that 4 weeks or 5 weeks. Everybody's united with their culture, supporting and all that stuff. And then when it ends, they're back to their normal lives. So I do believe sport does bring people together, and food brings people together, families, right? So I love it. I mean, I could easily see that being a Netflix doc or whatever. That was very cool.
I'll send you the trailer, and the first initial like pitch deck we had was like, there's like 8 countries all over the world, Brazil, Japan, New Zealand, Egypt. And you travel like all over the world, and you explore these cultures through the lens of food and sport.
So what were the sports you're looking at? So Egypt, what would it be?
I was trying to do soccer with Mo Salah, Mohamed Salah.
Yeah.
I have some like connections with him through family in Egypt. And so I was trying, it would have been hard to pull off, but I was going to try to pull it off. And the good thing about this is it's great for the tourism industry. So
100%.
You go directly to tourism industry to Egypt, for example. Hey, I'm doing a show. We're going to put your country in the whole tourism. Because after you see the episode, you're going to want to go travel to Egypt. Yeah. After you watch the episode, you're going to want to go to Japan or China, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm showing you.
So what was New Zealand? Rugby?
Rugby, yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Brazil, jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, BJJ, of course.
Japan, sumo wrestling, so it was going to be fun. And
were you going to participate in the sport? Like train? Yeah, I love that. I love that.
So I had one of my buddies I wrestled with. I did the show with. He's an alligator wrestler. He owns an alligator farm in New Orleans. So one of my first episodes, I was going to go wrestle alligators with him, go down Bourbon Street in New Orleans, really explore the culture, catch crawfish, and have a big I wanted to do it real. I didn't want to go to a fancy restaurant. I wanted to have a big boil up and eat by a fire pit, whatever it is, how the locals do it, right?
Yeah.
And really explore that culture, almost bringing the Anthony Bourdain style of like really diving deep into the culture and finding out why they do certain things, right?
Yeah.
I talked to a guy recently, and he was like, yo, you got to come to Alabama and do an episode. He's like, blah, blah, blah. We eat these turkey necks because back like when there was slavery, that's all they had. They were never given chunks of like meat. They were only given like the turkey backs and necks. So now you dive deep into why
the culture,
certain foods from the culture, from the history, from their ancestors, why they do the things that they do today, right? And it's kind of cool and unique to find out why people eat certain foods, right?
People
Mexicans have corn tortillas. They never got flour until like white people came over to Mexico, right? So it's like just little stuff like that. I love exploring that stuff and finding out more about the culture, but at the same time, I want to bring humor to it. So you build me up to like, yo, this Mada, he's a beast. He deadlifts 700 pounds. He did WWE. He dunks the ball, blah, blah, blah. And then you cut to me like wiping out on a skateboard, wiping out on a surfboard, doing ballet. Just really fun and exciting, but still educational at the same time. Yeah, but we had that going and lined up right before COVID, and then COVID hit. And of course, it's been just like super, super difficult to get something like that up. So one thing, I'm kind of like in the works of bringing it back. But one thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to start in America, because I can travel freely in America, and America is pretty diverse. So I can ski in Denver. I can ride horses in Texas. I can wrestle alligators in New Orleans. I can surf in LA here. Yeah. So I can get a solid 8 to 10 episodes, 30 minutes a piece. Here just in America, I can shoot it pretty quick, very cheap. So hopefully I can get that going by the end of this year, man. It'll be big.
I love it. Yeah. And when you do that, obviously you're going to try to sell the reel. You're going to try to sell it off, or
yeah.
I love that.
I mean, I did. Well, I'm talking to an agent right now. We're seeing like, do we go to a studio with this and get funding and then work with us, or do we just shoot it ourselves and then sell it afterwards? So there's multiple kind of like, because it's something that you can shoot yourself, because it won't require a big budget at all. Even travel expenses, hotel expenses, you could probably get comp, because you can have American Airlines sponsor this episode, right?
Yeah.
So American Airlines can be one of the sponsors. You can fly for free. Hilton Hotels can sponsor you. You can stay for free in all these 8 cities, right? It'll be fairly cheap to shoot. It won't be a big budget. Restaurants, any restaurant would love to be a part of it, right? It's amazing marketing. So you're going to eat for free. You're going to stay for free. It's really, you're paying for like the editors, the sound guys, the film, the cameraman, all of that little stuff. So it's not like
I've met.
budget.
We'll talk off air, but I know a gentleman that runs a production company I met recently, and he's from the U.S. So we'll talk off air. I mean, I'll do the intro to you guys because it might be.
I'd love to link up with people that can potentially be involved in this and help out with this.
Yeah, I will. So as soon as we're done, we'll talk. As soon as we're done with this, we'll talk. But it's all about networking, man. That's how life is, man. It's all who you meet and all that stuff like that. So the training aspect. So you're not actually doing the training aspect anymore, or you are still training?
I'm training 2 actors right now. You know, my biggest thing is.
Are you allowed to say who they are or no?
Yeah. Luke Eisner. He's off Tall Girl, and Chosen Jacobs. He was off. His biggest thing was, the movie It.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's young. He's only 20. So I'm working with him right now. And man, both of them, Luke put on, when he first started with me, he was about 150 pounds. He's 6'4". He's like 185 now.
Oh, big difference.
Just kind of like, And I love, not only did I help him change, of course, his body, but just his body and just the way he's walking, his posture, just that little stuff.
Yeah.
It's almost like, I treat my clients, and that's why I don't like working with a lot of them, because I want the people that are just really would give it all. I want this to be your life. I want you to dedicate your life to this, because I'm going to treat you almost like my child. Like, I love the progression. I love, to me, you're like, you're my child. And I'm seeing you crawl and walk and run and progress and get better daily. Yeah. That's the kind of love and passion I have for my clients, and for me to give that type of effort to somebody, I have to have them as dedicated as me. Most recently Chosen, man, when we post his results, it's mind blowing. It blows my mind. In less than a month, this kid changed his entire body. I'm just like looking at the pictures like, what's going on? But he works so hard. He's training twice a day. He's eating I give him the meals for the meal prep. He's just so on it. He sent me pictures of every meal he eats. I love that. You can't, there's never a bother to me. Keep bothering me. Keep asking me questions, because I love this. I want you to be the best you can be. Yeah. So if I can help you get more. And so it's been a blessing to work with those 2 right now. Luke's getting ready for some big roles coming up, and he's been busy the last couple of months. So we're going to get back to training soon. So it's been a good time. My biggest thing was, anybody I train, I want to stay in LA, because when I was working with Jason, I saw my kids once every 2-3 months. My biggest thing is no matter the opportunity, I do not want to miss my kids grow. Like right now, there's how it is.
There's a stat, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but they say 90% of the FaceTime we're going to have with our children is before the age of 18.
Wow.
Think about that. And how old are your little ones now?
4 and 6.
Yeah, they're still young, but I'm being honestly.
But it's that age where even you see it, your 13-year-olds, you're it's not the same. 4 and 6, you're their world.
You know what? My kids are. I mean, we have a very close. Our kids do. We still do everything together. I get home and we're bike ride. I work out with my kids. My 2 kids are my workout partners. If you go to my history, and you'll see my kids are workout fanatics. Both of them are workout fanatics. All they do is my kids don't play video games. They fight over the treadmill. Instead it's all about fitness, right?
Yes.
So as a family, we do a lot of hiking and bike riding, and we're always active. So, and we've done this from a very young age. So it's allowed that progression to really, really become part of their DNA kind of thing. Right. So, but I love that you did that, because it's so precious and the time flies. I look at my daughter and I could still see her a year old with this little ponytail. I'm like, oh my God, where the hell's 15 years gone? Right. It's a time flies, man. Time just goes by. Right. And especially as your life, if you think of the last year and a half with COVID, just think of how quick the last year and a half has flown by.
I know.
It just goes. So you have to appreciate and understand that. And really, really, I love that you did that. Do you still keep in contact with Jason?
No, I mean, he's super busy.
So,
both kind of just living our own lives. With the kids, it's like you said, they grow so fast.
Yeah, crazy.
But COVID was almost a blessing, because I would work out here in the balcony.
Yeah.
And they would watch me. They were still super young. but they'll grab my bands.
Yeah.
And they're like, he's only Cairo's the younger one. He's only 2. He's barely like grabbing anything. He's trying to pick up a 100-pound dumbbell and like
so cute.
That was a really kind of like a changing, like that moment changed a lot because now they're more obsessed with working out because they got to see it.
Yeah.
In real life, every day, like I was just going crazy in that balcony.
Yeah.
And I would get them involved, and they would do their set, and they'll do push-ups, and it became a thing.
Yeah.
And now they're always like, "Daddy, can we work out? Daddy, can we do this? Daddy, can we do that?" And like you said, like being able to work out with them is nothing quite like it. Like I can't wait until they're slightly older. I can bring them into the gym every now and then. Like they're in the gym in the child center. At the end, I'll bring them out for a little quick workout,
Yeah, as I get older,
it's
like my even yesterday we were home and me and my 2 kids are in the basement. We have a gym set up and we're doing a workout. All 3 of us doing a workout together, and they're strong. And they're like, my daughter is 15. I'll send you pictures after. Like she could do full chin-ups. Like she's like 15, 20 full chin-ups at 15.
Wow.
Like strong kids. Because we started. I mean, we don't go heavy, but it's all resistance and just building strength. But it's all about the confidence too. Exactly what you said at the beginning of this whole conversation. What happened to you? That confidence that they walk in a room with their chest high because they're proud of themselves. They're confident in their ability. They know they could go in and do anything they want. Yeah. So I love that aspect of it. So you have so many layers now. You got the acting. You're still doing, obviously, we're trying to produce that show. The meal prep. Where do you see the meal prep company going over the next couple of years?
I mean, there's so many avenues to this, and everybody's talking about scaling it nationwide. And my biggest thing with nationwide is like you see a lot of the bigger meal prep companies. Nothing against them, but the quality. Quality sucks. Like I hate to say it, but you cannot keep high quality when you're shipping nationwide.
Yeah.
And I'm big on locally sourced ingredients, and so I thought about different, even almost franchising it, or like my biggest thing is let's focus in LA. I'm big on like let's just focus. The big picture is of course, like I want to get into snacks and sauces and seasoning and stuff that's easily shipped, right?
Yeah.
But for the meals, let's kill LA. Let's really get a system down, right? From the logistics to the marketing to everything, right? Then we can potentially branch out into maybe a franchise option, or you go around like there's meal prep companies everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Maybe there's a meal prep company in Miami needs help with logistics or marketing or this or that recipes. We come in. We go like we basically take over their now Modified Eats.
Yeah.
And they already have an established customer base. They have a kitchen, they have a chef, they have everything, but they need that little bit extra, whether it's the recipes or how to do this or how to do that. I've thought about different ideas, but my biggest thing now is just like really, really, really honing in LA and taking it to the next level here. The market here is massive. And my biggest thing is like, I'd rather keep it here in LA and keep the quality high versus make a shit ton of money and
it's a short term, right? Yeah. So you're looking at the long-term process, and it's all a process too. Like I like how you're saying that because every business is a process, and really toning in and perfecting each process, whatever the future holds. If you have all the processes built, you could eventually have that 8-step process, and then move it into this state and maybe either franchise, license it, or whatever you decide. But you have the whole process where A to B, it's done, it's perfected. Now you can move in and all that. So I love that.
It's always going to change. Like I was with a buddy the other day, and he was like, "Bro, your meals are amazing." Because our meals are not. We're making like lo mein and mashed potatoes, and like we're really pesto pasta, and like cool, unique dishes from all over the world. We make Thai fried rice, for example, but it's all no sugar, no gluten, no dairy, lower in fat. So it's super, super clean, right? I'm big, even the oils I use. I don't use I use avocado oil only. Why? Because it's got a high smoke point. I never use any other oil to cook with. I use ghee. I use locally sourced ingredients, organic ingredients. Very big on those little details. Because you can go get chicken and rice from, whatever, Chipotle or whatever is filled with sugar or MSG or this or that. How many times have you gone, my body's super sensitive to crap. Because I eat usually like pretty clean. So as soon as I eat something outside, even if it's chicken and rice, I get bloated and sleepy. That means it's got MSG in it. Right away, I know. I know when something has MSG in it. it tastes good. Don't get me wrong, but what I hate is you don't need it. They add stuff that you don't need.
Yeah.
My food tastes better without it. So
it's a process,
he brought up
right?
the idea of potentially, why not start a restaurant, right? And it's tough. It's tough. The restaurant business is tough.
In Canada, a little over 12,000 restaurants all locked their doors during the pandemic.
Wow.
It's a very.
How is Toronto right now, by the way?
We've only been out of lockdown for 8 weeks, 7 weeks. It was tough here. It was tough here, man. It was tough here.
I saw videos
and my main, I don't know if you know this, but like I run a couple companies, but my main company is called Kimura, where we manufacture, design boxing martial art equipment. That's what I do. I've been doing that for 15 plus years, that company. So we deal with about 1,800 gyms right across North America. And we sell directly, we design, manufacture, we sell wholesale to the gyms directly to B2B, and the gyms were all closed.
No.
So it was the gyms have just been open officially for maybe 8 weeks, give or take. Wow. 8 weeks, 10 weeks, give or take. So it's been, Are they still like masks inside the gym, or what's the? Yeah, I mean, you have to wear a mask going into the gym, but you're on your station working out, you can take off the mask. But when you travel station to station, you got to wear a mask. But now they're making it that gyms officially. Is it this Friday? You can only be in gyms if you're double vaccinated. You can't even go to gyms if you're not vaccinated. This law is now coming in place, and it's to be a QR code on your phone where you have to be scanned before you go into any gym or any restaurant. You can't go to a restaurant or a gym in Ontario.
How do you get a QR code?
They said you get one from the government on your phone, and you have to scan it when you go in. Everybody gets their own QR code, and it shows that you're double vaccinated, and you cannot go to a restaurant, movie theaters.
Wow, I did not even know about
this. Gyms, all that. There's a ton of things you can't do if you're not like me. The first big music concert was 3 weeks ago. It was a Maroon 5, and I took my kids and my wife, and we're vaccinated, but you cannot go without showing your vaccination. You can't get in. You couldn't get in.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah. I mean, it's a different thing altogether, buddy. It's like, put it this way, my sister's work as of October 31st, if she's pure against the vaccines, but she has no choice to get it done or she loses her job. October 31st.
My sister's like that too.
You're out of a job. And then it's crazy. That's another conversation for a whole nother day, right?
Yeah, that's a whole different podcast right there.
It's crazy.
It's insane. I didn't know it was like that in Canada. I knew it was like super tough, but wow, I didn't know about the QR codes and stuff like that. It's got like your picture or ID, or how do they know it's yours?
I think they scan it and then you have to show a piece of ID. So when we went to I don't know exactly how it was going to be, but when we went to the concert, I had to show my license and the proof of vaccination.
Code,
the proof of vaccine. Oh, ours was we didn't have the QR code yet. It was you go to the government's website, you put in your health card number, your ID, and then you could print out or download proof of vaccination, and then you save it on your phone. You show your phone, you show your ID to get in. That's crazy.
Wow.
Is that crazy?
Yeah.
Wow. Different world altogether, man.
I know it's
the crazy the last 16 months is a different world altogether.
I know. Yeah, you brought up we launched our supplement company 2 months before COVID hit. So it was definitely really, really tough, and we're still recovering from it. And it's been really, really hard because a lot of the stuff we had planned to do was in person. We had a lot of connections with gyms, and we were going to do these expos, and we got a cool, unique team. You met Zion, for example. So we have a really cool, unique team that when we go somewhere, we draw a lot of attention.
Yeah.
But so our biggest strength was taken away. So just starting as a startup in a supplement industry, a overly saturated industry.
Yeah.
It's very tough, especially the way we market our products is very real. We're not pushing like the sex sells kind of things. We're not using half naked girls just to sell, whatever. Like I'm anti that. And my biggest thing was starting a supplement company was when I was 16, 17, I bought all those fat burners, and the guy that's all like juiced out is with the shredded abs, like, take this and you look like me in 30 days, right? Yeah. And I took it. I didn't look like him in 30 days.
Yeah.
What happened to my confidence, self-esteem?
Yeah.
I started like, I was in my room alone, almost in tears. Like, why can't I do it? What's wrong with me? Maybe doubt myself.
Yeah.
We're an industry. We're supposed to help bring people up.
Yeah.
Right.
Not,
and motivate them, inspire them. They were pushing people down. I'm like, wow, especially now, like young girls have it the worst.
Yeah.
There's so much pressure on them, and some of them are depressed or even suicidal.
Social media, right? Social
media. It's, and it's all like, whether it's fake or edited pics or this or that, they're setting these standards for these young girls that are sometimes unattainable, and these false hopes and dreams, whether it's products or this or that.
Yeah.
To me, I was so anti that. I wanted to create this brand that was real, right? And that's why real deal, be real, be you. But it's hard in this world because sex sells, fake sells. People want like, hey,
influencers, right? I mean, the world of influencers is a different market altogether, right? A girl showing her ass is going to get 1 million views. A mom walking your kid will get 10 views. It's just the reality of the world we live in, right? And all these companies are realizing that, and they're realizing the quickest route to making money is through that channel, which is sad because you have a daughter, right?
No,
you have two boys.
Sons.
So I got a daughter.
Yeah,
so
everybody thinks they're girls because they're super cute.
I have. I mean, I look at my daughter. I mean, she's super fit. She takes care of herself. She's a really pretty girl. But I mean, I see her. She's very obsessed with these YouTube channels and all this stuff, and she's obsessed with what cream she uses and what stuff you use. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's 15 and she's so obsessed with the creams and this products and what she uses. And it's all through all these YouTube channels and all these outlets, right? Because there are these influencers. They control the market now. They control the market more. Influencers control the market nowadays more than any type of TV commercial, any type of anything else. It's all the social influencers, right?
Yeah. It's
but if you like people like you that are building a brand for themselves as an influencer in a way, and if they're legit and real, I mean, that's a good thing, right? Because you can hopefully push a lot of that away and try to make your own path through it. So I appreciate that too, right?
Yeah, exactly, man. It's all about being real, and you have to have that like kind of balance of knowing how these social media trends work and these platforms work for you to succeed. Because they do push for all that stuff, right? Yeah. So if you're too real, you're not going to see growth and ability to influence many. So you have to have that balance of like, with my Instagram, I try to do kind of like funny things or this or that. Yeah. But I always keep it I always keep it real. That's one thing with me is like, I'm always going to keep it real. To me, it's not about like the money or the fame of this. It's like, I'd rather, take a lot less, just knowing it. In my heart, I always kept it real.
Yeah. Quick question. Your parents are both with us?
Yeah.
You're obviously, your parents did a lot of sacrifice to move to New Zealand and then to the US. What do your parents mean to you?
Everything. And it's funny you asked that because I saw this video the other day. They live in DC, and I see my mom. Maybe she comes out here maybe 3 times a year. I see my dad maybe once a year for Christmas. And he was like, how old are your parents? In the video, and they're like, they're like 65, and he's like, well, let's say they live to like 95.
So,
you see them once a year, so you're gonna see your parents 30 more times.
In reality, let's be honest. I mean, the average, my dad passed away at 76, never smoked, never drank, power walked every day, never had issues, and had a heart attack and died in my mom's arms in their bedroom like this, instant. And reality is I thought I had still on my dad for another 5-10 years minimal. I thought, but in his 80s, he'll start getting a little tired, and you never think that's going to happen. Yeah. So I tell people that. I always say that. When I talk to a lot of guys, I say, like, the average, if your dad or parents live to their 80, you're lucky. Yeah. So now, if they're in their 60s, you might have 15 more summers with them. Yeah. So you think that, and you start really appreciating that and really understanding that no regrets.
Exactly.
Which our conversation today started with, right?
Yeah. And especially as a father, like seeing my kids, like what they mean to me, and remembering how my dad was, and then like being in his place, it's crazy because it's almost like deja vu, but now I'm in his place, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The way they're asking, oh, Dad, can you do this? Dad, can you do that? Dad, can you do this? And I'm like, wow, like it takes me back. Especially my older son looks exactly like me when I was younger. So it's freaky.
Yeah.
And it just takes me, I'm like, man, my dad did so much for me.
Yeah.
You never quite appreciate it until you're a father yourself.
Yeah.
And then I look back to everything he taught me.
Yeah.
That he shaped my life. You know, he taught me how to play basketball, for example. And I wanted to create a short film about this. It's going to be called Basketball is Life.
Yeah.
And, you know, he didn't know anything about basketball. He was a soccer player, but
Yeah.
he knew how to he wanted to help me. I was the worst basketball player on the team at 10 years old.
Yeah.
And I was tall, I was big, but I wasn't skilled. And from one summer, I went from the worst player to the best player. And I was representing New Zealand at, you know, under 14s, and I just blew up, right?
Yeah.
And he used to train me. He used to have me on a free throw line. He'd be yelling and screaming, throwing tennis balls at me, and just to get me like to really be focused, right? And he used to pull me from school, and he used to take me to the court and practice. My mom would get so mad. But he pulled me from school because he saw that passion I had for basketball. He wanted me to pursue my passion because he was a soccer player. He could have played pro, but his parents pushed him to be a doctor. Yeah. So that was his regret. Yeah. That was his regret. He never chased soccer because he could have been a pro. He's really good. Yeah. So that was his biggest regret in life. And he didn't want me to live with that regret. So he always told me from a young age that's where I'm going with this, how basketball is life. Yeah. So he's from a young age, 12 years old, pulled me from school to what? Chase my dreams. He taught me that at a young age, right? Yeah. Chase your dreams, no matter what. Go after your dreams. You love basketball? Do it. Go do it. Work at it. He told me that with hard work, you can achieve anything. I went from the worst player on the team to the best in one summer. Yeah. Hard work, right? And then the last but not least, there's a lot of distractions in life. Life is going to have a lot of noise, right? Yeah. It's like that when I'm on that free throw line. Cancel all that noise out. He's yelling, he's screaming, he's throwing tennis balls in my face. That's life, right? Yeah. Woosah, like everything's done. I'm focused on nothing but my goal, which is the hoop. Yeah. Right? It taught me about having this like ultra focus in life where like life's always going to have distractions and noises and this and that. But when you have a goal, when you have a target in life, focus on that. Don't let anything get in the way. Those three things this whole time, and you know, and I imagine like the short film, it'd be like 4 or 5 minutes, like talking, you know, in the background and showing me and my kids now. And he's like overlooking now me and my kids, right? In the sunset. And it just ends with me saying, this whole time I thought my dad was teaching me about basketball, but what he was really teaching me about was life.
Yeah. I love it. 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 Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. I'm going to have one more question for you before you go today. If something were to happen to you today, in a few words, how would you want to be remembered or described by your loved ones?
Just real. But the biggest thing was I wore my heart on my sleeve. It's just like my biggest thing is, you know, if you're close to me, if you're part of my family, I'm willing to do anything for you. And, you know, it's somebody that always pursued their passions, but always wanted to help inspire others while doing it. So when I chase my dreams, when I chase my passions, part of a big part of the fuel to that flame is my process of doing it. It's not just achieving it. The process of the work I do is inspiring and motivating others to do the same in their life, right? Because they see that daily grind. That's why I love when my kids are seeing me work out or work and teaching them how to be winners, but how to lose and come back from that. We're all going to lose. Yeah. It's the one thing in life that connects us. Me and you connected through pain and struggle and disappointment and loss. We're connected to Bill Gates and Oprah and Michael Jordan and LeBron James. We're all connected through that. Yeah. I'm never going to be LeBron James or Bill Gates. Yeah. You're never going to be Michael Jordan, right? But we're all connected through the pain, the struggle, the disappointment. Everybody's connected through that. Yeah. So learning how to deal with that, because at the end of the day, life is not about what you achieve, is what you can overcome. Yeah. You know, some people are blessed to have more than others, whatever. Yeah. But what can you do with what you're given, right? Your God-given talents, your opportunities, whatever physical, material, whatever things that you are given in life, how much can you do with it? And how many people can you inspire with it? What can you leave behind? It's that legacy.
Yeah.
That's what I want to leave behind. It's like, it's not about the material things. It's not about the money or anything about that. It's that energy that I have that I can, that I can pass down through people when they see me do what I do.
Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Anything you want to leave with our audience before we head out today?
Love you guys. Hopefully I'm back for part 2.
This has been a lot of fun, brother. On all our show notes, I'm going to put all the links to get a hold of you, follow you on social media, your obviously your companies, everything like that on all our things. And
awesome.
And it was a great conversation. I love that we connected. And if I'm in LA, I'm going to hit you up. If you're ever in Toronto, hit me up, man.
Yeah,
we go
sure,
hang out,
man.
and it's been a great conversation, brother.
Yeah, for sure, man. Hopefully catch up soon, bro.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
That's a wrap for today. What a great conversation. I want to thank our guest, Mada, for taking time out of his incredibly busy schedule to be a guest on the Jeff Knows Inc. podcast. If you guys enjoy this podcast, like all weeks, tell your friends, tell your family, spread the word. We're trying to build something incredibly special here. Leave a review. 5 stars would be absolutely amazing. Myself, my team, we always like spending time reading the reviews each week. Until next week, guys, keep moving forward.